Thanks for staying with us right here on Sunrise as we continue this Tuesday morning. Now, business, community, government, labor, unions and other stakeholders attended the 22nd National Economic Development and Labor Council Annual Summit last week. Now, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was the guest speaker during the summit in Kempton Park. To elaborate more on the summit, we're now joined in studio by the Executive Director of Nedlac Madoda Vilakazi. Remember, you can be part of our conversation if you'd like by calling us on 01144711742 or 4471620 if you have got any questions. Your comments are also welcome on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Good morning to you, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, the summit was held last week. It's in its 22nd one. The question for those who are not familiar with the work that Nedlac does is, what is the purpose of Nedlac and its relevance in 2017?
Nedlac is an organization of state. It was established in terms of the Nedlac Act of 1994. Just during the dawn of democracy, it was one of the organizations that were set up. It actually combined the activities of what was then called the National Manpower Commission and the National Economic Forum, basically to discuss among stakeholders, that will be government, business and labor, issues pertaining to labor legislation in the main and labor market matters, as well as economic and socio-economic legislation. So all legislation pertaining to the labor market is deliberated at Nedlac first, so that parties can reach some consensus. And once that has happened, then that legislation was then, in terms of the bill, is then sent to Parliament, to the relevant minister. If it's anything to do with labor, it is submitted to the Minister of Labor. If it has something to do with trade and industry, like AGOA Act, it will be submitted to the Minister of Trade and Industry. It's also intended to facilitate dialogue. It's an apex decision-making organization in the country. That's how it was established, and it deliberates on major economic issues of the country. For example, during the economic crisis of 2008-2009, all social partners came to Nedlac to discuss how to mitigate the effect of the economic meltdown. Currently, we are busy at Nedlac discussing how to mitigate the effects of the sovereign downgrade. We have a very powerful task team at Nedlac discussing those and coming up with strategies how to ameliorate the impact.
We've seen a bit of disagreement, maybe with some fragments of the labor as well as a bit of business, maybe as far back, I think about 3 years ago, saying things need to be reviewed around what the work of Nedlac should be. What was tackled at the recent summit that was held in Kempton Park?
Well, the theme of our summit was restoring integrity through combating corruption and good governance. So that was the theme. So everybody that spoke, as you may be aware, it is in terms of the Nedlac Act that we are having a summit. We are supposed to have an annual summit where Nedlac gives feedback on the past past year's activities to the social partners that are participating in Nedlac and those that are outside of Nedlac who may have interest in what Nedlac is doing. So basically, the main issue was to get feedback primarily from Nedlac and the social partners, and also take on the inputs that may come from the social partners, because the Nedlac Summit is not necessarily a governance structure. Whatever proposals that come from the Nedlac Summit will then be cascaded to the Executive Council, which is by law charged with the responsibility of convening the summit.
Okay, so one of the key things when there was a lot of talk around the national minimum wage concerning that, the Deputy President announced that in February, and looking at where things are now, and some trade unions are really not happy with that. How is that matter being resolved?
Well, we are not aware. I would say it has been raised as a concern by some trade unions through the processes of Nedlac, Section 77 application, those who are not happy with the minimum wage. But you must understand that we're coming from a very low base. We still have, by law in this country, people who are earning less than 1,500 rand. So if people will be earning 20 rands per hour, which translates into 3,500 rand per month, that is quite an improvement for many people. If you take, for example, the security industry, people are paid about 2,200 rand, and in the beauty care industry, people are still paid less than 1,500. So if we move to 3,500, we don't want to choke and also destroy jobs. That is the agreement of all the social partners, that we are going to have this national minimum wage, which is going to be implemented next year. Obviously, you can't make everybody happy. Not everybody happy. It was never intended to be a living wage. It's a floor under which no employee should be paid. So there will be people who are unhappy, but we hope after the 1st of May next year, once it's introduced, there will be ways to ensure that it's improved.
One of the most outspoken, obviously, is a South African, newly formed South African Federation of Trade Union. They want to be part of the summit, and they were not. How is that matter going to be resolved in terms of like inclusivity?
Well, I'm hearing for the first time that they wanted to be part of the summit from you. They never indicated that to us. People who were not invited at Nedlac, who indicated that they wanted to be part of the summit, were allowed to come and participate in the summit. They never indicated to us, and I must place on record that SAFTU has never made any application.
They never made any application. So what is the process if you want to be part? You're a civil organization. You want to be part of it.
If you want to participate in Nedlac, you belong to one of the 4 constituencies of Nedlac. In terms of the Nedlac protocol and the law, you need to apply to the executive director, and the executive director will have to process that application.
Which is yourself?
Which is myself, to process that application in accordance with the protocol. And a decision will be taken. It will be known within a month of me receiving an application. The applicant would know whether their application have been successful or not. So at this point in time, what we have received from SAFTU are just inquiries on what is needed to affiliate or to apply, what is required. We haven't yet. I hope they will make their application to Nedlac, but at this point in time, they haven't made any application.
Now, in terms of the outcomes of the summit going forward, the things that were agreed upon, what are the key areas of focus to help, stimulate the economy, deal with some of the issues around job creation and things like that?
Well, the one major issue, obviously, is to ensure that we fast-track legislation dealing with the national minimum wage, and the basic the negotiations are at a very advanced stage. And also, as I've talked about the theme that we had, combating corruption in all our activities, and also ensuring that we strengthen our interaction. As I've said, we are busy with the issue of the sovereign downgrade, how to mitigate the impact of that to ordinary South Africans. So the 14 points on improving or enhancing the fight against this junk status will be taken forward at Nedlac. And one other aspect, of course, is to ensure that Nedlac becomes an inclusive organization, but also the laws that we are piloting at Nedlac are actually implemented. As, for example, the minimum wage, once it's promulgated, we need to ensure that it's implemented across the board.